Vegeta faces off against the intruder from a distant world that has invaded planet Earth with his tiny little waifu. And right now it's a little bit difficult to figure out if Vegeta is worried because he recognizes him, because the guy recognizes Vegeta, or because Vegeta has sensed his power level and realizes this is not a small fry. This is somebody that could actually harm the planet and his family. And speaking of his family, they're like, okay, are we seeing double? Because Bulma definitely is going to be the one that is able to tell the similarities between these two characters. Again, they're supposed to be related. But Bola is like, is that a friend of yours? Because they're obviously Saiyans, and he's a Saiyan. But the way that they're staring down at each other is definitely not in any sort of friendly manner whatsoever. And yeah, that's not Daddy's friend, I'm telling you right now. And again, he recognizes Vegeta off the bat. And Vegeta's a little bit surprised because it's like, yeah, you actually know who I am. So, I mean, to me, it could be, like, I wouldn't be thinking brother or anything like that unless you're getting, like, a sense of familial sense from this person. I would be thinking, like, this guy knows that I'm Prince Vegeta. Maybe he thinks that I was up to the destruction of planet Earth, or my family was, or something along those lines. But he says that when he heard about the destruction of Planet Vegeta, he figured that Vegeta died along with it, which we already know in Dragon Ball Super Broly that he was off-world with Nappa, so he was never in any real danger. But now he knows that Destiny has rewarded his faith, knowing that Vegeta was still alive, and so he believes that he was destined to find him, basically, and he's really happy to do so. But Vegeta surprises him by saying, who are you? Like, who are you again? You haven't told me anything. Let me see if I can do it in Vegeta's voice. I don't believe I've made your acquaintance. Yeah, that's about it. Now, Tiny Waifu over here, she's also like, the prince has forgotten about us. He doesn't recollect us at all. Even though that's the case, they still remember him. So they understand who Vegeta is. It looks like whatever Vegeta did, it's definitely like one of the worst things that could be done to these two, because like they are extremely upset to see him here. And he even says he has a debt to pay. And Vegeta responds with, debt? What debt? I don't even know who you are. And so he responds with, we have some unresolved history. And he says, do you remember Planet Palm? Which is something that I don't remember from the original Dragon Ball New Age. So again, this could be a change that this is a remaster, essentially. So this could be a change that we did not see coming for the story. Okay, this is starting to bring it back, actually. The memories are flooding back in because this is part of the story. I remember that this is where, I don't know if the planet was Palm, but what the story is that Rigger, he was the lone child that stood up against Vegeta because they were on a mission. This is Vegeta was doing missions on other planets with other small Saiyan squads, essentially. And he said that there was a subordinate that actually hit you. Do you remember that subordinate that hit you? And as Vegeta is trying to like recollect, because we already know that like Dragon Ball characters barely remember anything that happens in the past, especially characters like, say, Goku. He finally recollects that, you know, Vegeta is the one that struck him back and actually put his boot on his head. And he even recollects that he said that you may have strength, but you have no technique whatsoever. It's almost like this is a different variation, a variety of Broly. It's very similar to Broly in a sense, where Broly has all the brute strength, but no technique whatsoever. But Vegeta kind of like pushes him a little bit more. He digs it deeper. He says that this is where you belong, under my boot, and like shoves his boot right in his face, which is completely disrespectful. And that is when Vegeta finally recollects it. He says, you're that black-tailed brat, which is one of the coolest features. Don't get me wrong, that is one of the coolest features. Design choices, I didn't really talk about that when I first saw his design, but the tail being black, it is different from other Saiyans because we don't know any other Saiyan that has a black tail, at least not that I can recollect right at this moment. So he does recollect on that, and he says that, yeah, you're the one that I beat up when we were kids. Like, did you come here all the way to settle something that we did in childhood, like because I beat you decades ago? Which it's a little bit strange because I feel like Vegeta would be the type to be like taking the challenge, like, okay, let's go ahead and fight then. But I feel like he feels the intent of like some real danger, like this guy may take some of his anger against his family or the planet or whatever to the point where, you know, it could be dangerous. So that's kind of like why Vegeta's like not like jumping at the gun to try to fight this guy, which he would have in the past, because he's a family man now. He wants to protect his family, and even if he did like a little childhood fight or a rematch or whatever, it could end into like a lot of destruction. But he says, no, that's part of it, but you have a life debt, you will pay it, which I don't know what that means. And if I remember correctly from the it's got something to do with their parentage. I remember that part from the original, but again, like I only read like maybe 2 or 3 chapters of that original, and I only reviewed like 2 of them. So basically, this is kind of like brand new for me. But he says that there's a life debt that Vegeta has to pay, meaning that he's going to have to either take Vegeta's life or somebody of equal, not lesser value. Vegeta has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Like, what are you talking about, life debt? Like, this guy's taking forever to get to the point. They both are, to be honest with you, and he's getting upset because Vegeta does not recollect anything, and I'm assuming that this guy has spent his entire life kind of thinking about this, and this is why it's not good to like focus so heavily on the past, at least in a negative way, and just kind of harp on it and let it change every decision that you make in the future, because you will end up like this guy. You will end up just being focused so much on the past and letting it consume you, and letting that resentment and that anger kind of build up inside of you. But at least he's got like a little Chilai to keep him calm, because little Chilai here is like, calm down, you know, and he does calm down. That's kind of why I feel like he's very, very much similar to Broly, and this is his Chilai, which is strange because this came out way before Dragon Ball Super Broly, where there was a Broly, but there was no Chilai. This is like almost the exact same dynamic. So Kira Toriyama, you reading Dragon Ball New Age, huh? Is that where you got the idea for Chilai? I mean, it seems kind of sus. I'm not gonna lie, they both look very similar. But back to the story, he notices Bulma and Bola. I actually love this panel. This might be my favorite panel, my favorite page up to this point, because it is just so, it shows us how much Vegeta has grown, but it also shows the intent of this guy, and like how much, you know, this guy really hates Vegeta and is willing to take something out. So right now he says, is that your family? And so Vegeta realizes now that, you know, where this is going. Basically, if there's a life debt to be paid, you know, they can pay it. And so he says, maybe this will jog your memory, which if he does kill either of them, which I'm assuming this guy can easily kill both of them, then that life debt should be paid, basically. But Vegeta, like, faster than this guy can react or even shoot the beam, which, remember, this guy's so fast. We already kind of measured how fast he was in the last chapter. Vegeta cuts in front of him, says, stop. And he is upset because he's like, no, you will not touch my family. And he's like, protecting others, how unlike you, because this is not the same Vegeta from a childhood. This is a completely different animal, and he loves his family and he will protect them tooth and nail. But then Bulma is like, hey, cutting the tension here, walks right up to the guy and says, I don't know who you think you are, but you don't come to someone's house and threaten them like that. And she goes right up to him. He's not fazed. She goes up to like slap him, like, basically the Beerus thing. I don't remember this being in the original, so I'm pretty sure it's an add-on because of the whole Beerus thing, because Bulma did that back in Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. But I would assume that this guy's not just gonna slap Bulma back. He's going to, like, you know, completely obliterate her. His shorty's not gonna let that happen, because she catches Bulma's arm in midair and she says, touch my husband and I'll kill you. And yeah, she's serious about it, because she could easily kill Bulma. Like, she already is a Saiyan, she's already strong, and lets Bulma go. Bulma doesn't leave anything besides her pride being hurt a little bit. And Vegeta's like, you know what? Let's get this fight, let's get this action away from my family. Let's get them away from the populated centers here, because these two are not playing around whatsoever. Like, they are here to collect on this life debt that they think Vegeta owes them. Vegeta tells him that there is a deserted area somewhere off in the distance, like there always is. I mean, there always is desert areas on this planet, and he says that I'll take you there, we'll settle it there. And he agrees to it. And when Bulma and Bola, like, you know, they're worried about him, Vegeta's like, no, don't worry, I'll be okay. And this is like one of the coldest moments in this chapter. Will you? Like, and you can see like the lines drawn, like this, like all the lines drawn on his face, and just how intense he's saying it. Like, you know, like he's like, yeah, you don't know, don't think you can handle me, buddy, because you're not him. You are not him. So all three of them head to wherever, God knows where, and we cut back to the lookout, where obviously Piccolo has sensed this, and with Mr. Popo, they're both looking out. That's their whole point. But he says that they seem to be friends with Vegeta, but not really, though. There's like intense malice and hatred coming from the stranger. But since Vegeta is the next in line to be the strongest on the planet, besides Goku, they shouldn't jump in, because they'll only get in the way. Like, these two are on a completely different level, which I think that Piccolo could take the girl, and if it came to push came to shove, like, they could use her as a bargaining chip, you know, or something along those lines. They could go for the weak spot. But it seems right now that this is only Vegeta's problem. Vegeta should be the one to handle it. As they fly off, the girl starts saying, like, she was not expecting for him to have a family. Remember, she she's gonna be the one that's gonna be thinking about this. Like, he even tried to protect them. Like, maybe he's changed. Maybe he's not as bad as we remember. Maybe he's not the bad evil monster that we've blown him up to be in our own lives. But this dude's like, no, it doesn't matter. His sins are etched in history. They're not even like, dude, these sins aren't even just like between me and him. They're etched on the fabric of time. And so he's going to pay for what he's done if that's the last thing he does. So he wants to beat him up or kill him, I'm assuming, probably unaware that there's Dragon Balls nearby, especially with Piccolo being on the planet. Like, I'm wondering how far this story can go realistically if it's all one huge battle, because there are several chapters of this. So again, I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like there's going to be an epic struggle here between Vegeta and this dude. They finally land at a spot that looks very similar to the original location where Vegeta and Goku had their first epic battle back in Dragon Ball Z. Looks almost identical to it, but again, they have a lot of like mountains and hills and just deserts on this planet anyway. It's finally time to tee off. It's finally time for them to face each other on somewhat equal playing fields here and see exactly what this story is really about. What is going on here? Why does this guy hate Vegeta so much? Now, before they start, Vegeta says the most sensible thing here that I've heard so far, and he says that before we start this, I need you to tell me your names. I'm not just gonna keep calling you black-tailed brat. He's like, that's probably disrespectful, I don't want to just be calling you that, I want to be on equal playing fields here. And they're both like equally shocked that they want to know that he wants to know their names. I'm assuming it has to do something with their backstory, maybe like he didn't care about their names before. But this is not the same Vegeta. Like, he's an honorable warrior now. He's not an upstart or a spoiled brat like he was before. Like, he actually cares. He's learned a lot from Goku. So this is kind of how I know that Vegeta has to have some sort of like PTSD, and he probably needs to go to therapy for a lot of the stuff that happened in his early life, because this guy recollects everything to the T, where Vegeta has completely blocked it all out, because Vegeta is the one that was added to his team saying that, like, shouldn't you learn our names before you start the mission? Like, you should learn the names of your squad mates because we're all warriors. And Vegeta was like, psh, why should I? And this is like coming back to him in present day. Like, he's like, no, what are you thinking? Like, what kind of joke are you playing? Like, you didn't give a shit about our names before, now you do. And you can tell he's getting frustrated. He's about to lose his cool like every freaking 10 seconds here, but he's pulling it back. He's trying not to lose it too much. But at the end of the day, like, he can't get past his past, and Vegeta has completely blocked it out. So I love this little line right here, so I'm gonna do it in the Vegeta voice. You would threaten my family in front of me, and then question my veracity? And I mean, that's true. Like, you definitely threaten my family. Like, why are you thinking I'm playing with you? I'm not playing with you. And so he finally realizes that he's for real, and he says that my name is Rigger, which is one I remember. I did not remember the girl's name, and this is Sapari. I love that name. That's a great name for her. Rigger is also a fantastic name. That's probably the name that most people remember from this fan manga. But Sapari, I mean, she's kind of... I want to see more of her. I'm hoping that nothing horrible happens to her. But again, she is with the bad guy. And I feel like her being with the quote-unquote bad guy and being kind of like soft and being like a little bit more gentle, it kind of softens him up a little bit, to be honest with you, and makes me believe that there's gonna be a happy ending at some point between these two. They face off against each other, and then when they're going in their stances, this is the Broly stance. This looks exactly like what Broly, like the way Broly kind of stands to like start a fight. Like, this is not really how Vegeta stands when he starts a fight. Vegeta maybe getting into form, but this is definitely how Broly usually stands. That's kind of like what I got from this. There it is. This is the fighting stance that I was waiting for. Look at Vegeta. Iconic completely. I like Vegeta's outfit, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is basically a addition, or at least I think this might be the same exact outfit from Dragon Ball GT. It looks great on him. And this guy's kind of like more like, he looks a little bit more like Broly in his stance here, so especially the way he widened it. So definitely a really interesting setup for this fight. And it just seems like this, and I remember this is his brother, so this is the fight between two family members. And they're fighting to the death here. At least one of them is. Vegeta gives him fair warning that he is much stronger than the last time he met him. And like, he must know that Rigger has some strength to him, or else he wouldn't be so worried about him. But maybe he thinks that he still has the edge because he hasn't seen what Rigger can do. And Rigger has not seen what Vegeta can transform into. But Rigger cuts him off completely. He's like, last time you were fighting an unskilled child, man. This time I'm going to crush you, because he wants to prove a point that there was nothing that Vegeta could do or transform into to survive this encounter. And so Vegeta takes this as a complete 100% green light. He's like, all right. And you can see like he's in the middle of transforming here. He's like about to transform, because most Saiyans, just like Paragus, would not know anything about the, like, especially like Super Saiyan. They would not know about Super Saiyan, let alone like Super Saiyan 4. So he probably thinks that Rigger is the exact same way. And that's when we get just a quick transformation sequence of Vegeta transforming into Super Saiyan 4. And I can tell where the outfit actually came from, because remember, when Vegeta transformed to Super Saiyan 4, he like changes the way his outfit looks, and I just didn't like the way that was in Dragon Ball GT. But in this, the outfit already is part of him before he transforms, so his shirt just rips off basically. So he always has the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta outfit, which is something that is a nice attention to detail that they added in this. I'm one to appreciate when someone transforms. We get like these poof circles emanating from them, like these little clouds. I love that kind of stuff, guys. And when artwork does it so well and incorporates the boom in the clouds to kind of like flow with them, it's just a chef's kiss. Fantastic work. And Rigger is I don't think he's worried, but he's definitely paying attention. He's like, what the hell? And Sapari can't even look at him. She's like, what the hell is going on? And Vegeta's like, not the first one to react that way, but it is too late for you to surrender. I feel like Vegeta still thinks this is a playing around thing. Like he's just going to be like beating this guy into a pulp and like, get off my planet kind of thing, you know? That's not the case here. A little shaken, but he says, this is your best. Let me go ahead and show you what I can do. But Sapari is like, nah, don't do anything too brash here. Like, hold on, let's think it through, because this could kill you. This could be it. And he says, no, don't worry. I don't need it, which is great foreshadowing for something horrible about to happen later on. But he says that let me know his power rating first. He wants to match where he's at, which I hope there is a believable answer as to why this guy from space would be the same level as a Super Saiyan 4 or higher. I need to know that. That needs to be part of the story. Hopefully it is explained somewhere in the story. Sapari says that he is 20 million Tani. And it says right here, a little note. I love these little notes in mangas. Tani is a unit of energy measurement from Rigger and Sapari's homeworld, Malik. This is from Malik. And so he says 20 million, then he's got the right transformation for him. And as he is harnessing that energy to transform, Vegeta's a little confused, maybe a little bit like interested in what's going on. Piccolo's not having any of it. Look at his face, dude. That's a face about someone who's gonna shit himself. That's definitely not the face of Orange Piccolo. That's the face of Piccolo back in Dragon Ball Z. And transform, he does a huge display. Like, he actually got, where Vegeta got like maybe like less than 2 panels, this dude gets like 3 full pages of his transformation, his initial transformation. He explodes into like black. It looks like an aura of blackness around what I can only assume is yellow. This is like a yellow key wrapped around him, like this explosion of energy, and you see like his eyes have gotten a little bit more black. His eyes could be red for all I know. This could be like a pre-indicator to, if his hair's white, this could be a pre-indicator to like Beast, kind of. I mean, we've had these type of transformations before. Beast, the legendary, Broly's Berserker. Like, these are ones that Saiyans can access, right? And so, I mean, Toriyama, are you reading Dragon Ball New Age? Is that what you're doing? Is that where you're getting your ideas from? Because this one looks a little bit sus here, because this is well before Superhero, like well before it. But he transforms and it looks really cool, I think. And just a little sneak peek here. This is the cover art for the next chapter. And yeah, so it's yellow tail, yellow hair, red eyes. Yo, Toriyama's got some explaining to do. That's red eyes right there, red aura shards everywhere, and it could be like a black and yellow type of aura, which and just like looking at the color of the design here, where it was yellow and black, I like this design a lot better. It looks really cool, like with the outfit and stuff like that. This is a really solid design. But this is the end of today's chapter. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of today's chapter. This is going to be BlackScape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content.